Hello and welcome back to another episode of That Podcast. My name is Ryan Janke, and as always, I am joined by Pastor DJ Lura and Dayna Mashevsky. I almost said Sarah DeYoung, but Sarah's not here today.
Where's Sarah?
Sarah is absent because it's a Wednesday, and she evidently has
a job.
She has a real job?
Job issues that prevents her from coming in and hanging out with us. So you're lost, Sarah.
That's a bummer.
So now I have to operate this thing.
Yep. You're doing a fine job.
It's only pushing buttons, but it was a weird, like, what button? Push the red button?
That's funny.
Don't push the red button.
Don't push the red button.
Self-destruct button.
Until we're done.
I know there's a mute button.
Yeah,
but I don't know whose mic is it. So.
There is a mute button. Sarah will often mute me.
I think you're this one.
I don't remember, but I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm
yep.
one. That's the one. Oh, funny. So it is, again, has it made it to 70 degrees? Nope. It says 69 degrees on my cellular telephone.
My watch does say 70.
Really?
Yep.
So we, in 4 days, head to Kansas City, Missouri. How many days has it been above 80 here in the last, this calendar year now?
Above 80?
Yeah.
Above 80?
Did we get one?
Was it like Saturday?
Yeah, one. Our group is going to be one big puddle of themselves when we go to Kansas City next week. It's like 95 degrees down
already?
There. Yeah.
Well, they should send that heat this way.
That's right. Why do you think we're sending them? They're going to bring it back.
Let me look at
I need you to bottle it.
Let me look at the 10-day. Maybe we're going to get a reprieve, but I talked to a member here who was just down there. I talked to him at Thunder Road Night, which was a blast, by the way. I talked to him, and he had just been there for the NASCAR race, said it was 94 degrees while he was at the NASCAR race.
NASCAR race, too.
And it had just rained, too.
Yeah.
So.
See, the hottest day we were in Chicago was also the rainiest day, and it was that miserable, I can't breathe.
Muggy.
Hey.
Just
It's
muggy.
like breathing in water.
Hey, Kansas City, Missouri, I got it right here. Are you ready? This is great.
Is it?
Sunday. So we leave on Sunday.
What time do you get there?
We have to be there by 5.
Oh,
so I'd like to be there sooner than that. The high on Sunday is 78. Monday 73. Tuesday 72. This is wonderful.
Wow, Ryan, those prayers are being answered.
Wednesday 75, Thursday 74. We come back on Friday, but the high is 76 that day. This is going to be phenomenal.
So hold on. When did the meteor weather guessers say that it was going to be 95? Was that like this morning?
No, I was saying that it was going to be 95 because I'm a pessimist that way.
You never actually checked and was like 90.
No, I thought
at some point you checked the weather in advance.
I just assumed because last time, so in 2019, we went to Kansas City on a mission trip, and it was in the 90s the whole time then. So I just assumed that it would be, and
because of the two,
the
person you
I
talked
just picture
to,
like without looking at anything, like you dress for 100 degrees to Kansas City and 30 below for Alaska, which in
Alaska in July, and you're like, it's snowy, kid.
Actually, I better pass this along to our participants because I've been saying it's going to be Kansas City. Just bring your shorts if you want to. It reminds me of when we went to San Francisco and I told the girls, it was all girls except me and Zach. Mm-hmm. So there was 13 of us, and then it was me and Zach, and then Hannah and Zach's wife, Kelsey, were the adult female chaperones, and then we had the 9 high school girls. And we had been telling them for a month, don't worry about packing shorts. San Francisco, everybody is telling us you don't need to worry about pack a pair if you want to bring a pair of shorts. But it's going to be cold. And we get there.
No.
We get there. And we get immediately into the rental van, drive across the bay into Oakland and get out. And I'm like,
you have to be on the water for that to happen.
These kids are going to kill me.
Yeah, right.
So
break out the scissors. We're making jean shorts.
Yeah, because it was hot. But then we get back in the van, go back over the bay to the Golden Gate Bridge. It was like fall here.
Yeah.
It was cold out there.
There's that temperate, what's the fancy term? The oceanic breeze or whatever that comes off.
Whatever it is. But yeah, it was downright cold sometimes while we were in San Francisco. So they didn't care that they didn't have any shorts along. But yeah. So, yep.
Well, good news.
So
Missouri's not going to be the sun.
Update your kids. Make
I
sure
just
they pack
assumed.
appropriately.
I just assumed we were going to be one big puddle of Fargo down in Kansas City. But.
They're just melting slowly.
How was Chicago? You were just in Chicago.
I was just in Chicago. It was great. I love Chicago.
I love Chicago. Chicago's a great city. I love Chicago. I hate getting to Chicago. There's no good way to get to that city.
And I even found the cheapest way to get there, and it was not.
Even that was kind of rough, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
I would do it again.
That was just because of company.
Yeah, it was purely because the people we were next to were always crabby. Awful.
They were sour. Oh, you should have played them the message on Sunday. That would have made no difference whatsoever.
I've never taken the train anywhere. I mean, light rail, that's it, or the subway.
Yeah,
in
no,
New
we
York
took
City.
Amtrak from Fargo to Chicago, and it was 13 to 14 hours, and
How many stops?
a lot.
Yeah. They stop
know.
everywhere, don't they?
Yeah. There were, because at one point, it was delayed when it picked us up, but then we arrived on time. So I think they skipped a few stops of we're not letting anybody off and no one's getting on. So I think they skipped a few, but yeah, it stops a lot. But.
So when I think of train rides, I think of what was that movie? Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah.
Is it like that? Like there are all these ballrooms and you walk along and there's a place to eat. And
No, I mean there is because Amtrak has the normal coach cars and business cars, and then it has the what they call roomettes, which is
a room.
Yeah, with what you think of a train with the seats facing each other and everything, and then the sleeper cars with the little beds. But the coach is kind of just like a bus where it's two seats and then an aisle and then two seats, and it's just, but they're more comfortable. They were actually comfortable seats.
Okay.
I curled up in mine and slept. So it wasn't uncomfortable, and the seats fold back and there's a footrest and everything, and then there's a snack car.
Okay.
So and a nice viewing car. That was fun.
Okay. So there is more than just rows of seats on a Greyhound bus.
Yeah.
But you just happen to be on a train instead of a bus.
Yeah. So yeah, there was the.
But it's
what
not
they call
exactly.
the lounge
But it's not exactly Hogwarts either.
No.
Like the Hogwarts Express.
If you do get the nice fancy sleeper rooms, then there is a dining car. But because of the COVID, they haven't opened the dining car up to the general public. It's just for people that pay for the sleeper cars.
With the cost of plane tickets, train might be the way to go.
That's why we took the train, because it was for the two of us. Round trip was $380.
Oh wow.
Whoa, to
That's
Chicago
really
and back,
good.
huh?
That's
which
really
is
good.
one-way ticket to Chicago on a plane. So
Probably less. Probably $100 less. I bet.
So it was. Yeah, I'm on a train for 13 hours, and the old ladies next to me are really crappy.
But
I saved some money.
If you think about it, though, a plane ride from Fargo to Chicago, they do. I think American goes direct. Well, I know American goes direct, but that's probably 2 hours, and then you got to get here 2 hours early. So yeah, you probably lost 9 hours of your life, but 18 for.
But it was fun. It was fun.
You know what?
Yeah.
But on a train, you get the experience.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was a really cool so we spent because of our crabby old ladies, we spent most of the trip there in the viewing lounge car, and they were I don't know, part of the park system, giving a tour. They'd point out different things along the river, because the tracks follow the river along.
That's cool.
After once it leaves Minneapolis, it kind of follows the river for a bit. So it was he would point out different things and talk about trees and here's Red Wing and all this stuff. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
That's
that
cool.
is cool. So what was your favorite parts, or what were some of your favorite things in Chicago?
I love museums, so I loved Field Museum. That was my favorite. I was I don't care what we do. I pretty much was because I've been to Chicago before. I was Sierra, we can do whatever, but we're going to the Field Museum. This is the one thing you don't get out of. And then I also just really like people watching on the train.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah.
On the subway.
People
on
watching.
the metro.
Yep.
Because it's just, people are weird.
And you were to the Bean. I saw
Yep.
that on the Facebooks.
Yep.
Cool.
Went there. It's not far, but I also didn't realize I didn't ride a bike in 2 years, but we biked from Field Museum to Navy Pier.
It's like riding a
Oh.
bike. It's just like riding a bike.
You
Riding a
would
bike
think
again?
that, but then I was this is so uncomfortable. Why is this so uncomfortable?
Well, those.
It's just like riding a bike, and I hated it when I rode a bike.
It's like, no, you don't understand. My bike that I had was comfy. It was expansive.
Mm-hmm. You guys didn't get a tandem bike?
Absolutely not.
How far of a bike ride is that?
I think it's maybe 2 miles, not even.
Okay.
From where to where? From
Field Museum to Navy Pier.
Okay. The Field Museum is by
It's
Millennium Park?
Yeah, it's south of it.
Okay.
So
Is it 2 miles?
I don't know. So they have like markers on the side of like the bike path, and they were so worn away. I couldn't actually tell what it was saying. So I was like, I don't know, because I know that it tells you like what street you're coming up on.
Yeah.
And then it would also tell you like marker points of like how long the trail is, but I couldn't read them very well.
We were there last summer, and we walked from Navy Pier to the Bean, which is in Millennium Park. And I didn't feel like it was 2 miles. Maybe it was.
I could also be exaggerating because my legs hurt, man. Like,
I'll look it up.
I could also just.
Well, I was just saying that.
Also, the pizza. The pizza is the best part.
Yeah.
The pizza's
The
good.
pizza's amazing.
If anybody tells you that,
I'm
like-
still angry with you that you didn't bring me any back.
That pizza was not going to make it on that 13-hour train.
They couldn't cover the weight requirements to bring the pizza on.
If anybody ever tells you deep dish pizza is not worth it, they're lying.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
absolutely worth it.
some people are like, New York style is the best kind of pizza. No, it really is Chicago. I mean, you will, if you come home skinny, it's your own fault because, man, so good.
So why'd you order 2 pizzas?
Oh, have I told you this story?
No.
So when we were there last summer, we drove. You guys know this, but we drove to the East Coast, right? Mm-hmm. Like we went from here to Chicago, and then we spent 2 nights in Chicago, and then the first night when we got there, I went downstairs to the lobby of the hotel, and I said to the lady behind the counter, I said, "We just got here, touristy stuff, you know. Where should we go, or where would you go out to eat?" And she said, "Well, there's a Fridays right here, and there's like a Dairy Queen down here." No. If you were going to go out and eat somewhere, where would you go? Oh, I'd go to Giordano's. All right, then that's where we're going to go. So we go to Giordano's, which is where you were at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Not the same location, but the same.
yeah. So we go in there, and they have like a little model thing on the counter that shows you what your pizza is going to look like. Mm-hmm. It looks like, you know, basically like an anatomy thing of this pizza, because there's a slice cut out, and it's thick.
Yeah.
It's like 2 inches, like it's literally
It's deep.
dish. Like
Yeah.
it's huge.
It's like a literally like a pie. Like it's
it
got the crust on the bottom and on the top, and then all the filling in the inside. So we're talking, and it's an hour. Like going there, it's going to be an hour wait, but that's okay because it takes like 45 minutes to bake these pizzas.
Yeah.
And so she said, "So you can decide what you want, and then order it, and we'll bake it while you wait." So that's what we did. So we've got the menu, and Tab and I are talking, and we're like, all right, let's go with this Giordano's special one, right? And I'm like, well,
Meat, more meat, and more meat.
yeah, it was,
we got
yeah.
2.
So I'm like, well, how many do you want? She goes, well, just 1. I'm like, 1? Yeah. You think it's going to be enough? Look at this thing. Yeah, it's going to be enough.
Right. And I love it so much.
So I go up to the counter.
Like, did you guys get mediums or did you get smalls?
No, the mediums.
Oh, okay.
So I go up to the counter, and so I got the menu in my hand, and I'm like, I guess we're going to go with this one. And then I turn back slowly, and I look back at Tab and the kids, and I turn back around. Give us a cheese, too.
Why would you?
Holy moly, was there food. We had food for days.
You probably ate 1 pizza and then took a whole pizza home.
And this pizza, if you take a slice of this stuff and you get it with your fork, you got to stretch your arm to the moon to try to break this cheese.
Why? Why?
Why don't you listen to your wife?
Well, even if you're going to order a second deep dish, why?
Why just cheese?
Because, I will tell you why.
I don't want to get gross on here, but if you eat a deep dish cheese pizza,
Oh, you're gonna get bound up.
yeah, you're done for.
Yeah, it's like Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you why, and I don't feel bad about this because my son doesn't listen to this program anyway. all he'll eat is a cheese pizza.
Okay.
So I'm like, but part of it was because I'm a glutton, and
Sure.
I mean, it's not
And
something
you didn't
I'm proud
believe
of.
them when they tell you this is what the pizza will look like.
All
It's
your
3 pounds.
you had all your meals covered then.
Yeah,
for
well, thankfully
week.
we had a fridge in the hotel room, and I had to take the box and jam it in like kitty corner to get it into
Wait.
the fridge.
What did Deb say when they brought both pizzas?
Oh, she knew. I turned around and looked, and I'm like, "Give us a cheese too." And I go back and I went, "I ordered a cheese too." She just shakes her head.
Of course.
Yeah, this is who I married.
Yeah.
And so, we had, so the next night, the next day for breakfast, and then the next night we had leftover pizza from Giordano's.
And
it's
cheese pizza.
Yeah. Now I will say that Chicago beats New York up and down for pizza, but New York's got Chicago for dogs. I got a dog, and it was a 1-for-1 because I had a street dog in New York City. It was the best hot dog I've ever eaten in my life. I think it might be the Hudson Water, and then
all kinds of nutrients and things in there.
And then I had a street dog in Chicago. Gross, not even close. Yep.
I have not tried a New York dog and a Chicago dog. I've done the pizza, but not the hot dog. So
Yeah, it was a dirty water dog, they call it in New York City. It was good, like $2, and I was full.
wow.
Yep.
I mean, that's great, but you did not sell me on that at all.
On the New York, that was funny too, because our friends out there, so 13 of us went to New York City from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area in a 15-passenger van, and one of our friends is telling me the whole way, you got to have a dirty water dog. I said, I'm absolutely going to have it. So the first vendor we saw, a little street cart, I'm like, yeah, I want one. So I go up there and I'm like, I'll take a hot dog. What do you want on it? I said, well, what do you got? So they got like sauerkraut and mustard and ketchup, mayo, everything. I said, put everything on there. You want everything on it? Yeah, put everything on that hot dog. Whatever. Yeah. Lathers it all up with all the stuff. It was good.
So in the South, they have these things called fried bologna sandwiches.
Okay.
But there's only one way to order it. You got to order it all the way.
Okay.
All the way means everything that you just said plus red slaw.
Okay.
And it is disgusting.
Yeah, I was like, please don't tell me you like it because I really don't.
I'm going to try one at home tonight, I think.
The people
Get
I was
some
with,
German bologna.
I mean, how can you say no? They said you want a bologna.
You don't.
all the way.
You really don't.
It could have been a dare. I think they were all laughing at me because these were the men of the
they're
church.
like, watch us make this.
I tell you what.
Northerner.
Exactly.
That's
Yankee.
That guy and this was in Manhattan, that guy that made my hot dog looked like he was going to barf when he handed it to me.
He's like these tourists.
I thought it was great.
Oh, nasty.
Well, all you could really taste is the sauerkraut because once you put that on the hot dog, you
There's
can't really taste
onions
anything
too,
else.
if I remember right. It was loaded, man. It was, you couldn't see the actual dog
Yeah,
anymore.
that was a meal.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying that with the Chicago trip, in my first call when I was a youth pastor, we took two 15-person passenger vans
That's the best, isn't it?
into Chicago. And like I said, there's no good way to get into Chicago. Driving two 15-person passenger vans into Chicago, it took 3 hours just to get into the city. I've flown into the airport. I can't stand O'Hare.
Yeah.
If I can get around O'Hare on any flight that I take,
Go to
I will do
Midway.
it.
Midway's great.
Midway is?
This is a small airport.
I've
more on
only
the
ever
south side
parked
of
in their
town.
parking lot.
Yeah.
But there is, if you're driving through Chicago, there is a sweet spot. I don't know exactly when it is, and it changes, but you can get through the entire city in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a very narrow window, and the chances of hitting it are like winning the lottery.
Well, the best thing to do is just bite the bullet and go take 94 right through the heart of town.
yeah,
That's what I found.
that's the one.
Yeah,
But if you hit traffic on either side, you're gonna sit there forever.
Yeah.
Just forever.
So
But we drove these vans downtown. I was just saying that like taking the train or walking or biking rather than I remember the time being incredibly anxious and like white knuckled driving a 15-person van downtown.
Yep.
But in retrospect, now I feel like a hero that I was able to
you're
do
like,
that.
I did it. I drove in Chicago.
Yep. So we did that, and I looked it up. It's 1.4 miles from Millennium Park to Navy Pier. So you weren't far off.
Okay. Because how big is Millennium Park?
That's pretty big, but still.
The Bean's like on the north end. And
Okay.
It's on the south.
Well, I just went to Millennium Park,
Okay,
probably
that's
where that like jungle gym looking, where they have like the amphitheater. That's probably where it took.
In the middle of it?
In the middle of it, yeah. So
Ryan, now it's time to take a detour from Kansas City and just go measure that out before you make the rest of the way to Kansas City.
Let's do it.
Bring the GoPro.
I'm all about the road trips, except who can afford gas right now? But,
Not me.
So in 2015, my first ever mission trip, Pastor Andrea Paulson invited me along when she was youth director here. And we took the 15 we had one 15 passenger and we had two 12 passengers, but we drove those all over Chicago, and we parked downtown in one of the parking garages. And I'll never forget this. I was with a member who's still a member here, and we drive in, and I'm like, are we going to make this? Because they got the little pipe that hangs down on the chains, Dude, are we going to make this? And he's like, oh, yeah, we'll be good. We'll
clear it.
Drive underneath the thing, get out and look, and it's scraping along the top of the top of the van. Too late now.
Well, there goes that deposit.
But that was swinging on the chain. So I figured out what the problem is. They hang those down because that's not the roof.
The actual clearance.
It's not the roof of the place. It's the water pipes that hang down. Mm-hmm. That's what you're trying to avoid.
So how many water pipes did you take out?
None. Nope. Zero. But it was close.
Just banged against the chain a little bit. That's that's perfect.
They have a margin. They have a margin for error in there, don't they?
Yeah, that's a little bit of tolerance,
So, speaking of mission trips, we're going on one.
That's what I hear.
You are?
Soon.
When do you leave?
Sunday, the 5th of June. So if you're listening to this right away, just a couple days from now, we're going to be heading out.
5th. Yeah, it is June 1st today, isn't it?
It is.
It's the 1st of June.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It
hasn't even been spring yet around here.
Nope. Okay, that's not true. We've had like 3 days.
Okay, sorry. 3 days.
Listen, we don't have spring anymore. We had the brown season. Mm-hmm. We had one day where the weather was like, oh, this is really nice. Because I was like, man, it's really cold. And the next day I'm like, this is a really nice day. And the day after that I'm like, man, it's kind of hot. One day of spring.
Yeah.
But we're through the brown season and now we're into road construction. So,
I'll tell you what, and I fully understand, because I just had a birthday. I'm 44 now. So I understand that.
Don't look a day over 43, Ryan.
I know. I appreciate that.
You don't age.
But I'm grouchy. Mm-hmm. I drove on better roads in Nicaragua than 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. That 32nd Avenue is horrendous from University to 25th.
I'm just appreciative that they've actually started road construction on that road, because I do everything in my power to avoid that road.
I want it to snow again, because at least it'll fill all that stuff up.
To quote Eli, my son, it's badder than jail over there. It's bad. He said that one time. He had to pee.
I think you've told us that. At least you've told me that story.
Dad, I have to pee. How bad? Badder than jail. All right, we better get you in there then. He was like 3 at the time. That's pretty bad.
Well, how many folks are going to Kansas City?
17 for sure. We're waiting to get confirmation on whether we can bring number 18 along.
Checking their criminal record.
Well,
background checks.
He's a late addition, and so we're checking with CSM is who we're going on this one with.
Yep.
We're checking with them to see if we can still bring him along. We've already paid for the spot, so I would think that we could, but we probably better not load him up until they're like, yeah, he can come along. Or what are they going to do at that point?
Do you? I don't know if I've ever asked you this before. Do you plan other kind of fun things alongside the impactful mission experience? Like do you guys go to like, you're in Kansas City, you're going to go to like a Royals game?
Yep, we got the tickets bought already.
Is that right?
right. Is that
That's
going?
cool.
Yep.
Because didn't you guys go to a Twins game when you went to the cities last year?
Last year in Minneapolis, we went to a Twins game. So what we had done in the past, which was fun, I'm not saying it wasn't fun, but it was a little cumbersome, was we would plan an entire extra day. We did that before. We did that when we went to Kansas City. We went to a water park and we went to a water park down there, an amusement park outside of Kansas City. And then when we were in San Francisco, we just spent the day like checking out things
Doing the tourist thing?
doing the
touristy
touristy stuff, which a lot of it we had already done anyway. So it was going back to the same spots again. The problem is finding housing for that extra night.
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
because they don't
that
let
you're
you
there.
have the extra.
Yeah, and now I think some of them will let you pay an extra fee to spend the extra night, but if they can't, then what are you going to do? And it like when you're bringing 20 people along, all of a sudden that's a big hotel bill.
So is there like an LCMC network news blast that you send out to say, where's
Like,
the
where
church where
can
we can
we
crash?
Well, that's another and again, when I say cumbersome, that's actually when we went to San Francisco, we did that.
Oh.
We reached out to a church that didn't turn out to be LCMC, but they were very nice, very accommodating. They let us stay in the church. The problem is you get there, you unload all your stuff, you get unpacked, you blow up your air mattresses and everything. Then the next morning you get up and you tear everything down and you load it back in the van, go to the next spot, start all over again.
The circus is in town.
Yeah, right. So we didn't do that last year. 2 years ago, we got shut out from COVID, but last year we didn't take the extra day, and we're not again this time. But we still get some fun stuff in. Like when we went to Minneapolis, we went to a Twins game, and we got to check out some cool stuff. In Duluth, we got to do some touristy stuff in the evening, and that's what we're going to do again in Kansas City. We got tickets to a Royals game, I believe, on Tuesday night while we're there, and then CSM and Praying Pelican, who we're serving with in Alaska, is really good about, hey, you're in Alaska. How about it'd be nice if you didn't, we're going there to serve. I get that, but we're in Alaska instead of just, being inside a food distribution site and then the basement of a musty basement of a church.
Right.
How about we get out and see some stuff? They're really good about letting you experience the community that you're in.
Well, I think that's really important because mission trips, I don't know what people think about them, but from my experience, mission trips are more than just the service part. Service is a big part of it, but it's also about growing deeper in relationship to God and building a stronger relational foundation with those who are your peers that you're walking together in Christ. And so it's the entire experience that has a way of just making impactful faith jumps in a person's spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So you need that stuff too. It can't just be, put this hard hat on, we're going to work.
Right, and working, and then you burn them out, and then they're like, why did I ever do that? I never want to do that again.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we served, the last time we served in Kansas City was with a completely different organization. As of right now, and it has nothing to do with the Chiefs, but I don't care anything about Kansas City as I sit here today. Now, I'm hoping...
Great googly moogly.
Yeah. Now, I'm hoping that after we come back in a week from now, I'm like, man, I love that city. Because when we went to San Francisco, we were there with CSM, and I love that city. I'd love to go back right now and just hang. Because you
guys made some cool relationships. It wasn't just...
That's the big piece.
It's not a touristy thing. Like you guys got...
Right.
You met the soul of the city.
Yeah, we got into the city. We visited with people. In fact, one of our projects was to do just that, was to go around and talk to people on the street. And it was almost like a scavenger hunt kind of thing where it's like, find somebody to ask this specific question and this specific question. And so we did that. We talked to a lot of people there, and we got to, see a lot of the town and get the history of San Francisco and really learn about it. And we didn't get that with Kansas City last time. And so I'm hoping we do this time and the kids come back knowing a lot about it and about the people. Because it's important to know, how did they get to this point? Because I know, I forget what they call it, but I do know one thing about Kansas City, that they call it the red line, or they call it something where basically, I don't know how long ago, so I'm going to make it up. 100 years ago, if you wanted to buy a house on this side of this line, you had to be white. Yeah. And if you were black, you were on this side. I think
you're right. That was called redlining.
Okay, yeah. And so I want to learn.
It wasn't just there. It was.
I feel like that's
It could be. I'm not. But I'm hoping to learn more about that kind of stuff, so that when all of us, not just the kids that are coming, but all of us, get to understand, like, this was a huge problem 100 years ago, and it's still resonating today. Yeah. And this is why we are, where we're at.
Right. Yeah. And it's nice to see that, like, I can't think of another word for it, but like bursting the bubble of like Fargo. Mm-hmm. And like seeing, like, because like when you travel other places, like sometimes you can get too in the touristy thing and not like really see the city and be like, these are normal people and this is what they deal with. And
what I like also about mission trips is that, we can get so wrapped up in the voices that are telling us how things are, because we have national media, we have social media, we have all these voices telling us. Every city does not have the same kind of issues.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Every area doesn't have the same issues. They have unique issues specific to their area. Yeah. Some may overlap, like there can be racial disparity all over the country. There can be, the elements of redlining can continue today. You think of things that are unique to North Dakota of ongoing problems that, even though we don't have laws that are putting them in place like the redlining laws were, you think about the history in North Dakota between the settlers that came in here up until 1889 and the indigenous populations.
You don't actually have to go very far south of here to get a really brutal depiction of what things were like for Native Americans in North Dakota. I forget the name of it now. I'll have to look it up, but it's just south. I'll look it up while we're talking about other stuff. But it's everywhere.
Well, and I think it's important to learn and know the history of that, to learn how far we've gone, and to recognize that we still have more to go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then that might be the case this side of the eschaton. We still have more to go.
Right.
For those of you who don't know what eschaton means, it means the end of all things. When Jesus comes again, kind of like our what we say about broadcasting ministry here. We're going to be broadcasting until Jesus comes again.
Right.
So,
but yeah, I mean, like last year when we were in Minneapolis, we went to George Floyd Square. Mm-hmm. And we had people going, "You're going to take kids to George Floyd Square?" Man, I'm so glad we went there. Yeah. Because we were able to, we were there. We walked around all this stuff.
It's different to be there than like what you get
exactly
without being there and like.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced a news story like you were there and then you hear it reported? The reporting is always off. Right. Like it's never it's never as clear.
It's almost like a game of telephone.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yep. It's like, it's good to know, like, just to stand there and look around, like anywhere you go where a big thing has happened, whether it's George Floyd Square or Ground Zero in New York City or whatever, like actually being there and looking around going, okay, this is how it happened.
It makes it real.
That's how I felt going to Independence Hall in Philadelphia for the first time.
Yep.
That this is the room that all that stuff happened. This place is, teeny tiny.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was 95 degrees. It was like Kansas City. when they signed that stuff.
Whatever.
They had no air conditioning, Ryan. And their powdered wigs.
Whatever. I cannot find what I'm looking for here now, but I'll find it eventually. But so yeah, I'm excited. Like when we went to San Francisco, we got to go. Like we went to the corner of Haight and Ashbury, where like the Grateful Dead played, and there's a park there and stuff. You know,
it's got patina. The whole city has patina. Is that the term?
Yes.
That Paul uses where something old is valuable.
Yeah, it's got not veneer, but
veneer. So I got this. My wife used this word, and it just reminded me of it. So we got this portable fire pit. It's supposed to be smokeless, although it still has smoke coming out of the top of it. So I think that's false advertising. I don't know how you can burn a fire and have it be smokeless. That doesn't make sense to me. But it's not as smoky, and it seems to like funnel it upward. Anyway, as it was cooking, as the flames were happening, the stainless steel began to get this kind of tannish.
the
tint.
heat, yeah.
I got a tint to it. I'm like, look at that. Is that supposed to happen? And my wife's like, that's patina. That's supposed to happen. Oh, okay. So everywhere you go has some type of patina on it. Yes. And that's the good stuff to experience and kind of learn more.
Yeah. The Battle of Whitestone Hill. It's not far away. It's really, really close to Fargo. You can.
Where did you get sand from?
I was thinking sandstone for some reason.
Okay. Fair
Makes
enough.
sense.
That's valid.
Whitestone. Yeah, so it's really close to here, and they've got people there who will point things out to you, like going to Gettysburg. There's another thing. Like, wow, I never knew that battlefield was that huge. Mm-hmm. So it's just good to get there and learn stuff. So
in history.
Like museums, but outdoors.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I don't do the outdoors, so you put it in a building.
Dayna's there.
It's great.
I block out the sun and I'm there.
That's funny.
Give me air conditioning and shit.
Yeah. First world problems.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be good. It's going to be a good trip. We got a good group.
Are you going to have good food?
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's one thing that... So CSM, one thing that they do is every night for supper, they will take us to a different locally owned ethnic restaurant.
You guys get the good
Yep.
What is Kansas City known for? Like
barbecue.
Barbecue. That's their thing.
Kansas
City barbecue.
This is another one of those deals where I don't know.
In the Midwest, so is that considered sloppy joes?
No.
Is that the kind of barbecue you're talking about?
No, that's
because they're not the same.
So, like when we went to San Francisco one night, they took us. I never would have guessed. We went to Oakland and went to an authentic, locally owned Korean restaurant.
Ooh, nice.
I feel like you do this just to make me mad.
I do. Yeah,
okay.
Part of it is just to irritate you, to irritate
Fantastic.
Dayna.
I love it.
But it was so good. It was a Korean restaurant. We went to a Vietnamese restaurant one time.
Next time you go to, take me with, because I just want
we offered to bring you along to
You're
Kansas
not going
City.
to San Francisco. I mean specifically
just to
the
that
Korean
restaurant.
Barbecue.
That's where I'm going.
All I want.
So Dayna flies in, goes and eats. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Back on her Learjet home.
I want.
That's
So I would go there again. I mean, right now. Let's just go.
So talking about food, it reminds me that my dad likes to listen to us, and he's an avid listener.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, thank you. I like him. Yeah, he's a good guy. He has wanted me to set the record straight that I talked a while back about the Papa Do special.
Okay, I don't remember that.
It's on toast. You were talking about
yes. I remember that now. Yeah,
I got the recipe wrong. I don't know. I had said that what you do with the toast is you first got to put on the peanut butter, and the peanut butter has to be Jif peanut butter. Then on top of that goes butter.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this.
You were here for that.
It's worse than that. Okay, so but it's so good. It's a lot more calories. As soon as the toast pops, you got to put on a layer of butter first so that the butter melts.
Yep.
And then very quickly put on either Jif or when I was a kid, it was Skippy peanut butter, but it has to be creamy, not crunchy. Okay.
Good.
Then on top of that, you put another bit of butter.
Okay.
And then this is the last piece, and this is important. It has to be Welch's grape jelly, not jam, because they're both in the store at the same place. And this is what happens. With the jelly, it doesn't run. It'll clump.
Yeah, it clumps. I don't like that.
Well, but then with each bite, every so often, you get a little bit of grape along with all that other goodness.
I get that. But
So-
I just, it doesn't spread.
And you will gain 2 pounds every time you eat this for breakfast. It's worse than that Big Mac thing where
Perfect.
Super Size Me. Remember that old documentary? It's worse than that.
Sure.
Yeah.
We had to watch that in health class in 7th grade. Worst thing ever.
It ruined McDonald's.
It really did. Like, it was a long
So
time for me to
gross.
eat McDonald's again. And my mom was like,
You shouldn't anyway. You know what we figured out is
that a McPollo, they call McChickens McPollos in Mexico.
I did not know that. Did you know that they call, you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese
In France?
in France? Royale with cheese.
And why do they do that, Ryan?
Because they don't know what the metric system is.
Because of they have the metric system.
Or they have the metric system. They don't know what a quarter pounder is. Yeah, there you go. Dana's got no idea.
Where did where did that come from? Just out of
So
What's it, McPollo?
it's a McPollo. So for spring break, my senior year, me and 2 friends went to Cancun. And we were, I think it was on the way there, but one of my friends was like, do you think they call a McChicken a McPollo? And we were like, no, why would they do that? And she was like, we have to find a McDonald's. And I was like, I'm not eating at McDonald's. Like, we are going to find other
some good food. Yeah.
And we were just happened to be like at one of the touristy places, and we walked past a McDonald's, and in the windows was a poster for a McPollo.
Really?
Wow. That's funny.
She's like, I knew it. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. And I've never let that go.
Was your experience like my experience? I got to go down and do a wedding near, I want to say Cancun, when I was in Philadelphia. I was a pastor, and this couple, I was a pastor. I was serving a church in Philadelphia, and this couple wanted to have a destination wedding, and they invited me and my wife to come with. First experience in Mexico, get off the airport, everyone's got machine guns.
Nice.
Driving to the resort where the wedding was happening, everybody's got machine guns. Like, did you see that at all? Like federale police
Saw that in Nicaragua.
on the street. It just blew me away. I was like, wow.
But I
we
think
have no idea.
we were definitely like in Cancun. I think they were like, don't scare the tourists.
Okay.
We need their money.
On the outside of Cancun
Yeah.
is all the guns.
Because we were like, we did leave Cancun because I also like, I minored in anthropology. So I was like, we're going to Tulum.
Yeah.
Go see the things. And we might have there. I think I remember that.
Okay.
Seeing them like going into like what is their equivalent to like a national park.
Yeah.
But we also had a very nice resort where like we just stayed on the resort unless we were leaving to do something. So
Yeah. We saw that outside of San Mateo. That's a border town with Honduras. And there was a checkpoint. Like, you would stop, and these dudes got AK-47s. And
Yeah.
however, I do remember coming back into the States, we saw that, and we
Okay.
almost got detained.
Really?
That was
Okay.
a great time.
Well, I didn't get detained in Mexico,
Huh.
but I have gotten detained in Canada. That was a surprise.
I got told to make sure that I have my passport along whenever I leave the little area we stayed in Nicaragua, because when the people stopped us, the federales stopped us, I didn't have my passport because I'm like, I'm here now. Oh no.
No. You need proof of
You
identification.
Bring that thing with you. Okay. Sorry, sir. Point that thing somewhere else.
When you were down, I mean, for a while there, you were public enemy #1
that was in Costa Rica.
in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There was a wanted poster and everything.
There was no wanted poster.
There was. That Dayna put together.
That I was commissioned to do.
So one more random thought, just because we're talking about Mexico. Do you know what Mexico is actually called? You know how like we call other people will call this America or the States, but it's the United States of America. Do you know what Mexico's official name is?
No.
No.
It's the only other country that has United in States in its official name. It's the United Mexican States.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And there's, I think, 39 states, and then their capital city is also considered its own state.
Really?
Yes,
Yep.
I did know that.
I did not know that.
So it's on top of the Aztec city.
Is it really?
Mexico City is built on top of the
Was it Tenochtitlan?
Technochtitlan?
Now, I've never been there, but
Used to be able to speak Aztec, can't do it anymore.
I've never been there, but I've looked at it on the Google.
Yeah.
That looks like a huge city too.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mexico
And they've
City?
had UFOs there. I saw that on
Of course you did.
YouTube.
Welcome to Ryan's Conspiracy Corner. We should have the, like, what is it, the X-File sound?
I know. Let's see. What can I find on here? There we go.
That's funny.
Well, do we want to try to pull this back to
a total Seinfeld episode
I know,
here today?
right? Just about nothing. Should we have one quick conversation about one of these deep thoughts questions?
Sure. Which one do you want?
You pick one.
What have we done already?
We've done 1 in 10.
1 in 10.
1 in 10. Oh, okay. All right. Do you have a thought?
Nope.
Oh boy.
Can't have dead silence, guys. That's
Can't
not
do,
good.
We better
That's
not do
true,
that.
actually.
I'm trying to find one, so I'm looking over, and it looks like we've been recording for a little over 45 minutes.
It is.
And so, I'm thinking we probably shouldn't do 6.
Yeah, that'll be a while.
Which one's 6? Oh, no, absolutely.
Let's see.
No.
All right.
How about this one? This one's kind of fun.
All right, do it.
What are rights?
Uh-huh.
Where do they come from?
Ooh.
That's kind of a hot thing in the news these days with
Sure.
talking about, the tragedy in Texas and the question about what do you do about that?
Right.
With, I think there's fair-minded people that want some type of more stringent gun laws
Yep.
or gun control as it's
Yeah.
spoken, and others that don't. And the argument comes down to, well,
Rights.
what is a right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has a bit to do with like what government can do and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think everyone understands kind of the history of what a right is.
Right.
Right. So
This word is going to lose all meaning now.
So let's start with you. So Ryan, I mean, what are rights? Where do you think they come from?
So a right is, man.
Try to define right without using the word right. Like
Right.
that's where
Right. Right. Something that
I want somebody in the comments to like tally up how many times we say right.
something that I don't have to, something that is inherent, like something that I don't need to get or have be something that I don't need to get from somebody, like the right to free speech. Right. Nobody has to give me that. I have
You
that
don't need
already.
someone's permission to.
Right.
How about this? I'll go very Scandinavian. Yeah.
Like, or the right to defend myself. Nobody. The government can protect that, but I don't get that from them.
Yep.
The free speech I don't get from them.
That's why they're protected, right?
Right. Correct. Sorry, I did it again. So this is where we get into the sort of the controversial stuff with the right to education or the right to healthcare.
Right to an abortion.
In
Right
order
to housing.
Right to housing, yeah.
In order for, and I mean, this probably seems extreme, but if you are going to make something that is a good or service a right, that means that you are going to take that from someone eventually. Like if I have the right to health care, then I have the ability to tell somebody, you will, extract this ingrown toenail that I have or whatever. I just wanted to say something that would gross Dayna out.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, you could have gone so many ways with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that one.
But, the right, I have the right to, you never hear about having the right to food because in order to have that right, if you've got it and I have a right to it and I don't have it, then I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to get me some food.
Yeah,
or the grocery store.
Because there's been an injustice that's been done.
I have
your right has been taken from you.
Right. Correct. I probably just rambled.
Sure.
But
so where do you think rights come from then?
Well, from God.
Okay.
You don't, like I just said, the government can't give them to me. You can't give them to me. You could protect them for me, or the government could protect them for me.
Right.
But they don't come from, this is something that you're born with.
Right.
Yeah.
Dayna? For a rebuttal?
Opposing point of view.
You had me, and then you lost me, and then I got back on, and then I was like,
Was that confusing? Maybe I was confusing. I'm sorry.
No, I think it was just because I was listening to you, but also thinking at the same time, and I shouldn't have been doing that.
When Ryan starts talking for a long time, I just kind of zone out myself.
That's all right. What?
They
They're
have
just
McPollos in Mexico?
yeah. You can get them. They're just they're like basic human necessities that in order to survive you have to have these, so those are your rights.
I hear what you're saying.
That makes no sense to my head, so I guess.
I hear what you're saying, and that's kind of been the evolution of understanding as Americans what rights that we have and what are basic human rights and so on. When you think about the founding documents of our country, you have state constitutions and then you have the federal constitution. And before there was the federal constitution, there was the compact among the states, and that just didn't work after the Revolutionary War. So there was the push for a constitution and a federal system where there was a federal government. And the fear among the states was that the federal government would become so powerful, they would become a tyrant like Britain had been prior. So
King George.
Like King George. So even with the Declaration of Independence, there was this understanding among the founders that rights are things that are inherent and fundamental. And you don't need to be given them. Right. Like even food would not be a right. You don't have a right to food, but you have a right to gather food. In other words, you have a right to property.
Right. Correct.
Right?
Dang it. Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Again, seriously, I mean it. Someone tally up how many times.
But the First Amendment, why do I have freedom of speech? Because I can speak.
The Articles of Confederation.
Yeah, there you go. The Confederacy. Wait, no, that's a different group.
The Articles of Confederation was what was the Constitution before the Constitution.
Yeah, there we go. For the United States.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Correct.
I had to look it up.
The Confederates were those other guys.
Yeah. Different time period.
The Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights are unique because they were written in there to protect your rights, not necessarily to give you your rights, because they weren't thought to come from government. So now we'll speak of them as constitutional rights and so on. And it's why it gets real tricky with issues around the Second Amendment, because it's not the role of the federal government to impinge citizens' right to bear arms, because the right to bear arms is tied directly with the right to life. Because you're alive, you have a right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Because he had outlawed militias, and it was their response to that.
But it wasn't even for a well-regulated militia, because when you read the writings of the founders, what they say about is the militia is the entire people. So it's not even about joining up against someone. It's you have a right to self-defense, so therefore you have a right to bear arms, and no one can impinge on you. Now the funny thing is, and I heard the president talk about this, he said even back at the beginning you couldn't own a cannon. That's not true.
No, that's not true at all.
You could own a cannon if you had the means to purchase it, or to make it. You could own any of those really, really, you know, weapons of warfare.
You could.
I want to know. Like now, I'm just picturing like someone just having a cannon in their yard and just like threatening their neighbor across the street, being like,
well, and so where are the limits on this?
Pointing it at the neighbors. I'm not touching you.
Well, the limit is not the federal government. The limit is in the states. So individual states could have different requirements to exercise that right, but they couldn't ban it completely.
right.
That's kind of the big issue. You just say yeah. See, right, you're cheering it on. Right. The Bill of Rights are there to say, government, you can't take these from me. All right. If you wanted to change those, the only way in our system to change them is to have an amendment to the Constitution. And there's a process for that. It's hard to do, so no one wants to do it.
Right. Correct.
But the thinking was,
I know I did it too. And now
rights are things that come to God, and the government in the constitutional rights is protecting those things that you have naturally. Like all the government can do is to take them away from you.
Correct.
They can't give you something. Does that make sense? So now you get into well, what about all that other stuff? What about healthcare? What about driving a car? What about, well, those are privileges.
Yep.
And privileges are different because you don't have them naturally. I wasn't born with a car.
And you don't need, like, you don't
the
need
ability
a car
to drive it.
in order to
You don't need to have,
to function as a human being,
Right.
you don't need a car.
You don't need a car. And the argument could be, again, when it comes to healthcare, because there's talk about healthcare as a right. When privileges are spoken of as rights, you're talking about a different type of system of government that where do these rights come from? Well, they come from the government giving them to you. And our country was not founded that way.
Yeah.
The entire purpose of the government, the federal government, is to preserve your individual liberty and to protect against outside enemies, enemies that come from, foreign and domestic, I guess. I don't know, but that's the power of the government. Other systems like a parliamentary government, democratic socialism, and so on, they don't look at rights that way. They say rights are given to you by the government. Because it's about what the government can do for you, not what the government cannot do to you. Our country was founded on these are the things that the government cannot do to you.
Yes.
So,
and why we have checks and balances.
Yep. So if you think that government is the one who gives rights, that's where rights come from, you're going to have a different worldview as to what's allowed and what isn't. And that's where I think a lot of this argument comes in. Why is abortion a right? It's right there in the Constitution. Well, it's not clearly in the Constitution, but there's been enough precedent to say it's under privacy. Well, privacy isn't really in the Constitution either.
It depends on how you look at number 4.
It's wrapped up in the 14th Amendment. I want to say it's the 14th Amendment, where the right to privacy is discovered. But that, I think, has something to do... If you look at it, the plain writing, it's not about abortion. And when you look at the states' histories, up until the 60s, there was some type of limitation on abortion in all of the states. But it's a different way of understanding where it comes from. If it comes from the government can give it and they can take it away. If rights do not come from the government, then if the government is going to be a force for liberty rather than tyranny, they cannot take away what you naturally have.
Right. Correct,
sir.
Yep.
The 14th Amendment is citizenship.
Well, number 4 is your right to be secure in your...
Is that right to search and seizure?
Yeah, that's number 4.
Unreasonable searches and seizures, yes.
Well, hopefully someone who knows this stuff better can let us know. Because I thought that Roe v. Wade and Casey were based on the 14th Amendment. Equal rights under the law. That's the 14th Amendment, isn't it?
14th Amendment.
She just rattled it off here, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, now I can't remember what I said. It deals with citizenship and naturalization.
The 14th Amendment.
It addresses citizenship rights and equal protection under the law and was proposed in response to issues related to former slaves. The way it's been used, because regarding it was used for Roe v. Wade regarding abortion. Not only was it for those things, but it was for same-sex marriage was argued on the grounds of the 14th Amendment.
Okay.
So it wasn't just about it's been interpreted to mean more than just equal rights under the law, regardless of because it was after the Civil War, and the rights that former slaves have all of the rights of anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of the original sin of the United States that we're still working to move to. You know, move to equal. The promise of liberty and equality for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm. So all right, there.
See, now I'm just singing Hamilton in my head. So
I've never seen it yet.
Oh, it's good.
Tragic.
I haven't seen
It's
it.
good.
How have you not?
I do want to see the new Top Gun movie though.
Yes.
That's going to be for after we come back from Kansas City.
Is Lin-Manuel Miranda in that one too?
I don't think
That was kind of a nice segue from.
I was like, where did Top Gun come into this conversation?
Because it's a movie that I want to see.
Oh, I see.
That I haven't seen yet. I have no desire to see Hamilton.
Hamilton. If
That's a musical, right?
yes, but
See, I get lost.
But it's hip hop. It's all rap.
if you
hip-hop.
can move, you're
R&B.
it's your stuff, man.
like there's a song that's based off like Biggie.
I'm hip.
Hey, and I think Thomas Jefferson sings Buttermilk Biscuits in there somewhere.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That is going to get played next
Let me tell you
week.
something. The best things about Hamilton is the stuff with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and it's really good
I
and
really
historic.
because it's the same actor, but I also like Lafayette.
I-
He has the best rap in the entire show.
Yes, he does.
I get lost during musicals. I just do. I'm like, I got that. I don't know what's going on now. Like,
I don't know how to help you.
I love going to plays. If I will ask, is this a play or a musical? It's a play. All right, good.
So like, are we talking like musicals, like Disney musicals, where all of a sudden they break into song, or are we talking musicals where it's just like
where
song
it's
after
just straight musical, all the way through.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
those
I
I
can't help
like.
you
I
then.
like The Wizard of Oz.
That's a musical.
Yeah, but there's like actual dialogue where I can understand what's going on.
To be fair, the first time I saw Les Mis, I did not know that it was like musical, and we were like, "Oh, they haven't stopped singing."
What
for
have
10
we gotten
minutes.
ourselves into?
Yeah.
We're gonna turn it off now.
So I will go to musicals because we have a lot of talented youths here at Atonement who are involved in plays and musicals, and I will be like, "Is it a play or a musical?" And they'll be like, "It's a play." Oh, awesome! Yep, sounds good. I'm excited to go. Is it a play or a musical? It's a musical. I'll be there. I will be there. You can count on me being there, and I'll just know going in that I'll have no idea what's going on.
Right.
I still enjoy it, but not as much as if it was a play because.
At the end, Ryan's not, boy, that was great. It's more like, I really like watching you do your thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're
you
good.
were on stage,
You were great.
and I saw you up there.
2 thumbs up. It's just like I can't. We're over an hour now,
Yeah.
but this is a thing. Like if I watch something, like when I watch Harry Potter, I gotta have some Tabitha, Haley, somebody there somebody has to be there to interpret for me because that British accent, depending on who it is.
I was about to say, I don't think
I
Harry
was
Potter's
like-
a musical.
No, it's not a musical, but I cannot follow certain accents. Like we were watching the UFC fight where Conor McGregor broke his leg and then was spouting off afterwards.
Yeah.
Eli is rolling, laughing, and I'm like, hold on, what did he say? I totally missed it because I can't.
He's speaking English. I don't understand a thing he's saying.
I don't the accent just threw me. What did he just say?
Interesting.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. Like there will be like I watched.
So if you want to keep something from Ryan, just start talking in a Scottish
So I
accent.
need to work on
or-
my accent.
Yes.
yeah, work on your accent and you'll lose me. Like what's the Michael? What's the Irish bomber movie guy? Michael.
Irish bomber?
It's a kind of a documentary about a guy that worked for like what's the Irish
IRA?
maybe Yeah.
The
Irish Republican Army.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Anyway, I had to watch it for a class for NDSU. I had to watch it with the subtitles on.
Oh wow.
Because I could not understand what they were saying. Because of the
To be fair, Irish accents are difficult.
You know what?
Irish,
You're
Scottish,
not
all of
alone. Every time I turn on Disney Plus after one of my kids has been
Michael
on Disney
Collins.
Plus, Michael Collins.
Yep.
Or Netflix. If my kids have gotten into any of the streaming services before I get a chance to watch something, it's always got the subtitles turned on. Always.
I think it's a default.
It's my kids. It's not I'm telling you, because I watch them do it. They will watch the show with subtitles on their phone and on like some other, like they look like Batman with all these screens in front of them.
I am opposite of that. I can't do subtitles. I get way too distracted in looking at the subtitles to then be like, wait, what actually happened to go with that line right there?
Yeah, I'll miss the movie if I have the subtitles on.
It's the same with me.
My friends here can't do them without, and I was like, we can watch it with subtitles, but can we watch something I've already seen? I don't have to what happened?
Yeah, if we watch something I've seen, I'll actually catch something that I may have missed the first time reading the subtitles.
The only time I will put them on is, again, if I'm watching something that I'm like, I don't know, what did they just say? I'll rewind it, missed it. I'll rewind it again. If I miss it 3 times in a row, subtitles are on, got it. Turn the subtitles off, continue on with the movie.
There have been a few shows that I've had to do that where I was like, I can't actually tell what they're saying, just in the way that they've said it. But I also can't do I watch a lot of anime. I can't do it's gotta be dubbed. Otherwise, can't do it. I get too distracted watching the little words go across the bottom.
My son likes anime too, and I'm just blown away by the art on that stuff.
Zach Mathis, our former high school director, is a big anime buff. I don't know if you knew that. He had anime art in what is now your office, Dayna.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I have little figurines on my desk. That's about it. That's as much as I've got.
So,
well, I wish we had the Seinfeld music to play us out, because this has truly been an episode about nothing.
It was fun, but we didn't really go anywhere.
Big takeaways. Mission is happening.
Yeah.
Mission trips are
I'm
coming.
excited. Chicago's fun.
You should get a Chicago deep dish.
Yep.
Your rights come from God.
Yep.
And you can't have them taken away.
Yep.
Under our federal system.
And everybody knows now that if they want to keep me confused, either sing it to me or bring it to me in an Irish accent. Totally lost. So there we go.
And then he'll just turn the subtitles on below you and figure out what you said.
All right. Who wants to pray us out of here?
Nope.
I would be happy to. Dear God, I thank you for this time together. I thank you for time with Ryan and Dayna. Sometimes it's just fun just to talk life and talk about things that may seem a little out of the ordinary, but you work out of the ordinary. You work in all aspects of life. And I thank you, Lord. I ask your blessing and your presence to go with our mission trip to Kansas City, be with the youth and the leaders as they travel to that city. May they be the hands and feet of Christ. And bless everyone who's listening. I pray that whatever conversation is happening, that the Holy Spirit would work through what we have said today, maybe to bring joy, maybe some laughter, maybe some questions to the hearts and minds of those who can hear. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Next week, are you guys bringing in? Are you guys doing this next week? Will there be an episode next week?
Are you not back by next week?
Well, I'll be gone all next week. Unless you want me to phone it in.
You're going to have to shut it down.
I could phone it in.
No, we'll put something together.
All right, there'll be something next week. So in the meantime, you can find us everywhere you get your podcasts. You can also go to the YouTubes and search Atonement Fargo. Find us there, atonementfargo.org or atonement.live. If you're looking for a place to worship this weekend, you can go to any of those places and find us live at 9 and at 10:30 a.m. So for Dayna Mashevsky and Pastor DJ Laura, and for Sarah DeYoung somewhere, who knows what she's doing today, I'm Ryan Jenke. Thanks for being here, and join us next time for another riveting episode of that podcast. Sarah's going to kill me.